"I'm sorry, I don't understand." The words came out of Aisha's mouth in a whisper, her eyes darting nervously between the cashier and the growing line of impatient customers behind her. The grocery store felt like a stage, and she was the only actor who had forgotten her lines. Her hands trembled as she clutched the small basket of bread, milk, and eggs, just the basics. But even the basics felt overwhelming in a new country, in a new language. Aisha had moved to London just 3 months ago from Pakistan with her husband, Farid, and their 7-year-old daughter, Hina. Farid had found a job as a mechanic, and Hina had quickly adapted to her new school. But for Aisha, each day was a quiet battle. The simplest conversations, a greeting at the bus stop, a question at the pharmacy, felt like climbing a mountain with no map. At home, she kept her pain hidden. She cooked dinner, smiled for her daughter, and reassured Farid that everything was fine. But deep inside, she felt trapped, isolated by words she couldn't form, sentences she couldn't complete, and a voice she couldn't find. One evening, after tucking Hina into bed, Aisha sat at the kitchen table, her eyes scanning a flyer she had found at the local library earlier that day. It read, "Free English Conversation Classes for Beginners, Learn to Speak with Confidence." Her heart beat faster. "What if I'm the worst in the class?" she whispered. "What if they laugh at me?" Farid, sitting across from her, noticed her hesitance. He reached over and held her hand. "You won't know unless you try. You're brave, Aisha. You just don't believe it yet." The next morning, she stood at the door of the community center, gripping her notebook like a lifeline. The room inside buzzed with quiet chatter. People from all over the world, young and old, sat in a circle. A woman with kind eyes welcomed her with a smile. "Hello, my name is Sarah. Come in, sit with us." Aisha hesitated but stepped in. The first few classes were hard. She felt embarrassed each time she stumbled over a word, each time she asked, "Can you repeat, please?" But Sarah was patient, and so were the others. Slowly, Aisha learned to introduce herself. "My name is Aisha. I am from Pakistan. I live in London with my family." The words were simple, but they felt like magic. At home, she practiced in front of the mirror, speaking to her reflection like it was a friend. She watched YouTube videos, daily conversations, shopping dialogues, doctor's appointments, and repeated each phrase like a chant. She made flashcards for new vocabulary, pinned them on the fridge, whispered them while doing the dishes. One day, Hina came home from school and hugged her tightly. "Mama, my teacher said you speak English now." Aisha laughed, the sound full of surprise and joy. "A little, yes, but I am learning more every day." The breakthrough came one rainy afternoon when she took Hina to the doctor. The receptionist greeted her, and this time, Aisha didn't freeze. "Yes, we have an appointment at 2 p.m. for my daughter, Hina," she said, clearly and confidently. The receptionist nodded. "Perfect, please take a seat." Aisha smiled. It was a small exchange, but it meant everything. She had spoken. She had been understood. Months passed, and Aisha became one of the most active learners in her English class. She even began helping others who were just starting, translating and encouraging them in their native languages. Her world, once small and silent, began to grow. She joined the parent-teacher group at Hina's school, made friends at the community center, and no longer avoided conversations. Instead, she welcomed them. One day, during class, Sarah announced a surprise. "We're making a video to show how learning English has changed our lives. Would anyone like to share their story?" Aisha raised her hand, and when the camera rolled, she spoke from the heart. "I used to feel like I was invisible," she said. "Not because I didn't want to talk, but because I didn't know how. English was a wall, and I was on the other side. But I learned that language is not just grammar or big words, it's connection, it's courage, it's community. Now, I can speak. I can ask questions. I can be there for my daughter, for my family, for myself." She paused, her eyes shining. "If you are afraid to start, I understand. But take one step, say one word, and then another, because every word you learn is a brick. And one day, you'll build a bridge, with your voice." The video was posted online, and soon messages began pouring in from people all over the world. "Thank you for inspiring me. I want to learn too. I thought I was alone." Aisha's story became more than her own. It became a lifeline for others, just like the flyer had once been for her. And she smiled, knowing that with every small conversation, every imperfect sentence, she was rewriting her life, one word at a time. End message for the video. No matter where you're from or what your story is, learning to speak English can change your life. Start small. Practice daily. Believe in your voice. Because your words matter. And your story deserves to be heard.